Everybody, this is Brendan Magnan calling to order the.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Good evening, everyone. This is Brendan Magnan, Chair of the Milford Inland Wetlands Commission Agency. Calling to order the February 18th, 2026 meeting. Lisa, please call the roll.
Dan Bedecker.
Here.
Renji Bahav. Brian Black.
Here.
Jim Connors.
Here.
Matthew Connors.
Here.
Nick Ritchie.
Here.
Julie Valvo.
Here.
Buddy Field. Ray Gradwell.
Here.
Scott Marlowe.
Here.
Brendan Magnan.
Here. Thank you, Lisa. Commissioner Gradwell, could you please serve as voting alternate this evening?
Certainly, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Let's see. Let's go ahead with the Pledge of Allegiance. So Mary Rose, if you could share the flag, we will all stand, and I'd invite everybody to unmute yourselves and we can proceed with reciting the Pledge of Allegiance together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America, and to the republic
which
stands
one
one
nation,
nation
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
and justice
liberty
for all.
and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody, for that resounding recital. Let's see. Mary Rose, do you want to provide the sort of customary reminders, the procedural reminders for the audience, for the record?
Just 1 second, because we lost our notes. I do.
Just a slimmed down version.
Essentially, per the governor's orders, when hosting a a Zoom meeting, we need to have our cameras on when we're voting. We need to speak to the camera, identify ourselves. I'm not remembering all the things. Hold on. Inadvertently deleted them. In accordance with the Freedom of Information Act and the government's executive orders, this meeting is being recorded and will be made available on the City of Milford website. During this meeting, if members of the Inland Wetlands Commission would like to speak, please utilize the raise your hand feature via Zoom. All participants will be muted during the meeting unless recognized by the chair. And after being recognized to speak, please state your name and address prior to making a statement.
Thank you very much, Mary Rose, for the reminder. Good evening, everyone. Let's proceed with the next matter on our agenda, that is public comments. Is there anyone here from the public wishing to address the agency on matters not before the agency? Okay, I see none. Let's proceed on the next agenda item with Mary Rose, if you could just give us an orientation on D1, please.
Sure. Item D1 is 460 Vic Drive. It's IW 250061. It's a proposal by Garden Homes for a 76-unit 830G development with work within 100 and 150 feet of offsite wetlands. Wetlands are located on the adjacent property of the southwest and across Naugatuck Avenue. Commissioners at the last meeting had requested an updated wetland report and information on the testing in the proposed infiltration areas. That work will be done in the next several weeks as the weather allows. The applicant has given the agency a 65-day extension, which is the maximum extension you can get, which will expire on April 12th. They have submitted revised plans, although an additional revision may come as they get those reports done. And those revised plans and some comments have been uploaded to the document links attached to the meeting minutes or meeting agenda. And I would recommend that no action be taken this evening.
Thank you, Mary Rose, for that synopsis and recommendation. On the point you made about revised plans, is it your expectation and suggestion that we review those or wait until we're closer to the item being brought back on the agenda so that we can review, for example, the updated wetland report and information pertaining to the proposed infiltration areas all at once? Or do you have a recommendation on that or any thoughts?
Commissioners that reviewed the plans had comments in, which is what begat the revisions we're having.
Right.
And the request for the soil and the perk test came from the engineer, city engineer. But should you see something in a cursory review now that you'd like more information on, we can check with them to have it added to the final plan. I realize it's a large plan set to take a look at, and it's a little busy. But if people have time and want to do a cursory review now, so that we don't wind up in mid-April needing something else and not have time, because we're dead, or the project needs to be acted upon on the 12th of April, by the 12th of April.
Right. Thanks for clarifying that. Okay. Is that understood by everyone? Any questions that might prompt?
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
Yeah, I did a cursory review, Mary Rose, of the updated plans and some of the information provided. I still have some concerns. I'll share those concerns with you, Mary
Thank you.
Rose, over the next couple days. After reading after reading the stormwater quality manual, the erosion sediment control manual, and then looking at the plans, there's some details lacking and some design information probably that needs to be buttoned up. I can share that with you over the next couple days, though.
That would be great, and I'll get that out to the applicant and his team so that they can button that down.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Bradwell. Appreciate your diligence there. How about the city engineer? When would you expect him to review that, Mary?
He got this set last Friday, late in the day. He also knows additional stuff is coming, so I think he's reviewing what he can at this point, knowing full well that, you know, if those perk tests change things, he'll be reviewing another set of plans.
Right. So do you expect he will proceed with his review and complete that in the next couple of weeks, as an example, or?
I can ask him for a cursor or a review that he may not have, knowing full well he may have to update it.
Sounds good. Sounds like it might be a good use of time. To your earlier point, knowing that the 12th of April will fast be here.
Okay. For you, Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. Connors.
I just have a random general question on this application. Like I saw that it says southwest. Isn't the wetland? I was looking at the parcel on the Milford GIS. Isn't the wetland southeast of it? Or am I not looking at the right parcel here?
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah.
We'll let Mary Rose pull up the map.
I pulled up a near map, so I don't actually have the map from the thing. I can share that in a second.
Okay, we'll give you time.
All right, so this is Subway and Bic Drive. This is the old Bic plant.
Right, we see.
These are the spots on the subway where we reviewed the previous applications. This highlighted parcel is the parcel we're looking at. There's a small wetland over in here. Actually, I think it's right about there. And then there's a much larger wetland here off across Naugatuck Avenue. This is a high point. You should know you come down, if you're coming down Bic Drive or going up Bic Drive, there's a hill. So this water sheds this way, this water sheds that way. So you've got a wetland here to the southwest and a wetland here to the southeast.
Yeah, so the southeast one is the majority of the wetlands, it looks like, correct?
This is a much larger wetland. Yes, you're right. And this has a 150-foot upland review area because it's open space, where this just has a 100-foot upland review area.
I guess I'm just curious as to in terms of where the stormwater management was placed. Wouldn't it make more sense to protect the larger wetland?
I think it makes sense to protect them both, but
Yeah.
I
Well, yeah, no, I I agree, but I'm saying like in terms of placement of the actual storm management system, it seems far from the larger wetland in terms of orientation.
Yeah, the large basin is here, is proposed here, skirting this scar on the land is the Iroquois pipeline. So the large basin is here. And then the smaller infiltration galley system is up here on top of the hill. They're fighting a large slope to get that galley system in.
Gotcha.
Mr. Connors, do you feel like your question was addressed?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, in terms of accuracy and the language, the majority of the wetland is southeast, and it's stated southwest on our paper, on our agenda, and all that stuff. That's not a big deal, but just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, that's my notes that call it southwest. I can fix that for you. The call of the meeting is just that the work is proposed within 150 feet and 100 feet of a wetland. So
Yeah, and the only reason I say that is obviously we probably still want to pay attention to the southeast portion a little bit more of that parcel.
Thank you for the concern and the clarification. Appreciate that. Great.
right, I can stop that share.
Okay, let's move on to D2, please.
Right, I'm gonna share again. Sorry. Item D2 is IW 250064. It's I'm sorry, 001. It's 64 Quarry Road. It's a pre-application proposal by the property owner, Hung Lee, to extend the driveway alongside his home at 64 Quarry Road, which is work within 100 feet of a wetland or watercourse in the Indian River watershed. The driveway is proposed at 12 feet by 48 feet. It's an expansion, and it's proposed about 16, I think, to 20 feet from offsite wetlands. The agency may remember this site from last spring. There had been some clearing work on this side of the property. We had issued a violation. Mr. Lee was very responsive, came in, put his split rail fence and his markers back up, and then added a split rail fence. And now is looking to put a driveway expansion on the side of his home. He's proposing to address the increase in stormwater runoff with a 2-foot wide, 2-foot deep stone trench on the western side of the driveway. And at our last meeting, commissioners had several questions. Mr. Lee answered those questions in a document that was in our document links, and I'm sharing on the screen now. And for the trench drain detail, he's using the typical detail used by the City of Milford Engineering Department. Mr. Lee is here this evening if anybody has any questions for him.
Great, thanks, Mayor Rose, for the overview. Before we go on to Mr. Lee, you had mentioned in your overview that it was 12 by 48, but the drawings is 14 by 48.
Right. In, I believe, the first or second point, Mr. Lee, due to concerns at the last meeting, said he would decrease the driveway to 12 feet. When we had looked at it, when he was proposing it, this is that's right, it still says 14 feet there. There's an AC condenser and a door here. I had questioned if 12 feet was sufficient space off the house to not have other issues. So he made it 14 feet. The agency has concerns. He's going to drop it back to 12 feet and be careful.
Okay. Okay, let's invite Mr. Lee. Hi, thanks very much, Mr. Lee, for coming back before the agency and entertaining your questions, addressing the questions we have. Do you have anything, Mr. Lee, if you want to unmute yourself, do you have anything you'd like to add to the record that's not already part of the record?
Not at the moment. I'm here to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Okay. Do we have questions for the applicant from the agency? Any questions? Thanks, Mary Rose, for scrolling
Yeah.
down.
Wasn't sure if people were ready for that yet or not.
Great. Okay. Outstanding questions or new questions that the response may prompt anybody? As you're thinking, the decision this evening that the agency can render is to require that this be a full permit or refer it to the agency, I'm sorry, to the designated agent for jurisdictional ruling. Is that right, Mary Rose?
Yes, it is.
As this is a pre-application. So what's the prerogative of the agency?
The difference between those two is that in a full application, you would have conditions and could require an as-built and bonding. In a pre-application, it's a jurisdictional ruling. You're giving jurisdiction to do this without conditions.
That's right. Thank you for that clarification. Welcome. Any thoughts at this time?
Mary Rose,
Yes,
do you have an opinion on this?
I think done appropriately with proper erosion controls, that it can be completed without an impact to the wetlands. Mr. Lee's been very fastidious in getting those that area. The wetlands are off his site; they're not on his site. But he's been very careful in making sure that area has been grassed and grown in and stabilized. So I don't foresee that being an issue again. So I think it's the agency's concern whether they want to require
A full permit, or I think jurisdiction will be fine with it myself.
Other thoughts?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, through you, just a comment or a question, I guess. Mary Rose had mentioned the erosion controls, but I thought I read in the last part of that, what was up before that would only be done if the weather changed. And I was just wondering if we want to require erosion controls right from the start.
Through you, Mr. Chair, erosion controls from the start would be the preferable method, because you can't count on knowing when the weather's going to change and having the material on hand.
I would agree with that. If we want to do the jurisdictional thing, that maybe we put that as a requirement. I don't know if you can word it that way, a requirement or not.
We can't have any conditions on a jurisdictional ruling.
Right. But Mr. Lee, I think it's appropriate to ask you the question. Is it your intent to address Mr. Marlowe's concern that you would proactively hire somebody to put erosion controls, should this be granted an approval through the jurisdictional ruling process?
I am willing to do that if that's what the committee wants.
Also, nothing's going to be done on this for a while. There's too much frost in the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Jurisdictional ruling, I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable with this applicant being responsible. He's demonstrated a behavior of being responsible, working with the agency and with Mary Rose, so I'm comfortable with that approach.
I would agree.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, did a great job on the fence too, so
Mhm.
yeah, very well.
We have evidence to support it, so
Would you like me to?
Sorry, yeah, go ahead, Mr. Matthew Connors.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the designated agent issue a jurisdictional ruling for pre-application IW-26-00164 Quarry Road for the installation of a 12-foot by 48 driveway expansion as shown on the drawing in the file. This action will not have an impact or effect on the physical characteristics of the adjacent wetlands and watercourses. That is my motion.
Second that.
Great, thanks for the main motion, Mr. Matthew Connors, second by Mr. Jim Connors. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Lisa, roll call vote, please.
Dan Bedecker, Dan,
Aye.
Brian Black,
Aye.
Jim Connors, Jim. Okay.
I heard
Matthew
it.
Connors,
Aye.
Nick Ritchie,
Aye.
Julie Valvo,
Aye.
Scott Marlowe,
Aye.
Ray Gradwell,
Aye.
Brendan Magnan.
And I'm with the motion, thank you. The motion carries unanimously. Mr. Lee, thanks again for coming before us. When you do the work, good luck.
Thanks for the trust from the committee. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, moving on to the next agenda item, Mary Rose, I believe it's staff report, if I'm not mistaken.
Item E is minutes of the January 21st, 2025 organizational and regular meeting.
Right, do I have a motion to accept those as presented?
I'll make it.
Second.
Motion and a second by Mr. Black. Is that right? Mr. Marlowe. Okay, thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor. Whoops, sorry, roll call vote, Lisa.
Dan Bedecker,
Aye.
Brian Black,
Aye.
Jim Connors,
Aye.
Matthew Connors,
Aye.
Nick Ritchie,
Aye.
Julie Valvo,
Aye.
Ray Gradwell,
Aye.
Scott Marlowe,
Aye.
Brendan Magnan.
Aye, the motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Lisa, for the minutes. All right, moving on to staff report, Mayor Rose.
Just want to note that Commissioner Bahav has joined the meeting.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Commissioner Bahav.
Hello, good evening. Sorry, I was waiting in the lobby. I don't know. I think Zoom glitched out, but I'm here now.
Okay.
Staff report. Just a reminder that there's new statutory training required for the Inland Wetlands Commissioners. It's mandatory for both the commissioners and employees. Links to the training are in my draft meeting notes and in your link from TAF that takes you to all our documents, the schedule and ethics and all those fun things. If you're taking the class or when you complete the class, if you can please let us know. We need to keep track of that so that we can report it to DEP at a later date. Otherwise, we've been, February busy. People are starting to think about additions, sheds, decks, and pools. We've got emails, phones, and regular counter inquiries, and doing minor reviews for planning and zoning for items that are going before that board that may or may not have wetlands on them. We're working with the IT department on implementation of the new software, which is called OpenGov. That's supposed to go live on July 1st. We're supposed to start working on it for planning and zoning and wetlands in sometime in March. Taft is taking the lead on this project and is working with the building department as they implement their permitting structure so that we can roll that up to our permits as our permits feed into theirs so that people can get a permit out and start building. I'm hoping to make it a little bit clearer on guidance so people can work through the process. Right now, the online portal is not very easy for applicants to work through. I'm also working to include both FEMA flood and MS4 information into the application process to make it easier on staffing when we need to do our annual reporting. And on annual reporting, in my notes, I believe there's a link for the MS4 annual reporting, which is draft live now on the engineering website, and you can click on the link or you can go to the engineering website under annual reports. This is a report we do on what our stormwater maintenance and things have been done to clean up our stormwater systems. And that report will be drafted until March 15th, at which point we'll edit it again and get it up to the state as required by April 1st. And last week, the chairman was there. Milford received the National Weather Service Storm Ready certification. I've worked with members of the Hazard Mitigation Committee for several years to create a hazard weather plan that was reviewed and approved by the National Weather Service and the Connecticut Storm Ready Committee. There was a notice about the ceremony on the City Hall Facebook page, and it was in the patch. And this morning, I believe the mayor was on Melissa in the Morning and speaking about it. So that was a nice, finally, to get that project done and to get things safer for Milford. Does anyone have any questions for me?
No.
What?
No question for Mayor Rose. No, Mr. Connor said no.
Oh, okay. I thought he said, well,
Sorry.
thought it was celebrating with me on Storm Ready.
I had a random general question for you, Mary Rose, for as far as MS4 goes, because I'm not really too familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on it, or are we officially part of that MS4?
We've been in the Storm Ready, the MS4 program since like 2004, 2005. Every year it just gets a little more stringent. It's an unfunded mandate, and there's a lot of things that we, in theory, Milford's supposed to clean. It's almost 9,000 catch basins annually, with special attention to the ones that fill up more frequently to clean them a couple times a year. There aren't enough hours to do that.
Then, right?
Right. So, we do what we can. And a lot of the systems that we put in through the engineering reviews, zonings reviews, and the wetlands reviews is to clean that stormwater. The goal is to disconnect stormwater from going into the street and into the catch basins to get it back in the ground so it can infiltrate, recharge the groundwater, and clean itself as it gets there. Milford's never had the problem had to separate their stormwater from their sanitary. We don't have a mixed system, but essentially it's ways to try to clean the water before it hits the water resources.
Yeah, no, I heard a lot of towns have a lot of trouble meeting expectations of MS4. So I was just curious if
we puddle along with what we have. There's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many stormwater dollars to roll around, and there's only so much staff. So we work diligently.
It's going to affect the private people big time.
And as Mr. Connors has personally found out, the next iteration of this has started to bring in commercial properties that are, was it 5 acres, Jim?
5 acres. Well, if you combine ours together, yes, it's well over 5 acres.
Right. So
if you took them as separate parcels, they're not.
Right. So we, as part of the program, have to sample some outfalls for certain constituents and report back on that. Now, places like UI and things like that have always done that, but now properties like Mr. Connors that are above a certain acreage, that are a certain kind of property, now have to come in and start doing that testing and some of that reporting.
So it's going to be difficult, as you well know, what's being dumped on us.
we've discussed that with your son.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I have full confidence in Jimmy. He's gonna figure this out.
he will figure it out. The city might not like it, but he'll figure it out.
Does anyone have any other questions for me?
Well, I guess I'll just bring it back to the work of the agency. The agency's work is important because it at least addresses what we have control over, where applicants are putting prospective projects in front of us. We're making sure that we're addressing proactively, right, any requirements that are related to MS4. Is that right, Mary Rose?
That's correct. I was speaking to a neighbor the other day who was like, and they're building a house and they're putting a septic system in. And I'm like, a septic system? Who's building a septic system? And it's not. It's the stormwater system. It looks like a septic system because it's a big house. But people don't just let their gutters go to the driveway anymore. We've turned our gutters to our gardens. So we've disconnected our stormwater from the city system simply by turning our downspouts into our lawn and our garden instead of having it run down the driveway. It's as simple as that, but to get out the education and to go around and count how many houses have done that is not something we have the manpower for.
Oh, clearly. But I think, again, in the vein of what we have control over in our purview, that's part of making the connection here. I'm making the connection to Mr. Nick Connor's topic, right, of raising it. That the work that we're doing is in support of that. If we weren't doing that work, we wouldn't be contributing to that.
Correct. And all of that work cleans up the waterways, which is ultimately our protecting the national resources of wetlands and watercourses is our jurisdiction.
Great question, Mr. Matthew Connors. Good dialogue. Okay. Any other questions for Mary Rose? Okay, moving on. Chair's report, just as a reminder, next meeting is March 4th, and as always, be sure to let the office know if you're not able to attend. I will just comment back to Mary Rose's point about the National Weather Service Storm Ready certification. It's pretty remarkable that Milford is being recognized with this, and it's really a credit to Mary Rose and all the work she did, along with a handful of others. But it was my pleasure to be there representing the agency. So congrats, Mary Rose, on the recognition.
Thank you. Yeah, we are the first municipality in New Haven County to receive that designation.
Right. And Mary Rose, what would you, just intuitively, what would you say was the compelling reason or reasons for being recognized versus other municipalities not having that?
It informs a community rating system, CRS. It opens up another area of points. It gives us 25 points, which is a nice thing, a byproduct of it. But they were working on the local emergency operations plan and looking at things like, lightning warnings and making sure that we have social media posts ready for various kinds of storm events that could befall us. Who to reach out to. We're all on the National Weather Service chat now. So when you're talking about the storm for Sunday, we can see the chatter what all the weather guys out in Long Island that predict our weather are thinking about and talking about. So it helps to make the city ready. No, we need to put the barriers up because it's going to flood down the beach because of what the tides are going to be. The things like that all inform and come in to this report, and making sure we have the personnel that are paying attention to the channels so we know to do that, to do things for the city.
And is there also a byproduct of this recognition in terms of citizens having lower cost flood insurance?
Right. So when it informs CRS, it gives us more points. It'll add 25 points. There's a few other things in its activity that we would have to do in order to gain those 25 points. You have to get like 4 or 5 things in order to get them. But when we get all 4 or 5 of those things, we'll have enough points to go down to the next category, which would increase the savings for flood insurance.
Okay. Thank you for drawing that out. I think that's really important. I mean, we're all citizens, so it's great
Well,
to see some of
it's
the
very
benefits.
important to the folks that are paying flood insurance. They realize for every point we gain, you save another 5% on flood insurance.
Yeah. So thanks for all that good work. Okay, that's all I had under the chair's report. Thanks for everybody's participation in the meeting and your preparation. Moving on, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Dan Bedecker,
Aye.
Ranjit Bahav,
Aye.
Brian Black,
Aye.
Jim Connors,
Aye.
Matt Connors,
Aye.
Nick Ritchie,
Aye.
Julie Valvo,
Aye.
Scott Marlowe,
Aye.
Ray Gradwell,
Aye.
Brenda Magnin.
Aye. Thank you. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night,
Judy.
everybody.
Good night.
Thank you, Lindsay.